I have a mission, and I have some examples in my life that I've studied, people that weren't alive when I was, people that go back in history. Jesus is one of them. My whole life is based on, hey, I will do whatever it takes. There are people that I have studied in the present and in the past that have been tremendous inspirations to me. Some of the places where I have failed is I am so scared most of the time in trying to become someone that I am trying to hook into anyone that I can get attention from in order to create a relationship. So I'm trying to set hooks so I can actually get people in the present time to either like me or hate me. But at least they're like, hey, I remember that guy said, you don't need money, okay? It does not take money to make money. It takes courage, it takes faith, it takes action, it takes persistence.
Tell me, what was it like to have your identity stripped away, to go out with no money? Tell me about the show. I'm really curious and excited about it.
So the name of the show is Undercover Billionaire. It premieres tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Discovery Channel. Or you can get the Discovery Plus app. By the way, they're going to be playing it at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, so you get a 12-hour start. I'm not supposed to tell anybody that. Discovery called me in January and said, hey, if we drop you off in a city you've never been to, take away your money, your credit facilities, all your friends, all your contacts, could you turn basically $100? They said, we'll give you $100. I'm like, well, keep it. That's stupid. Let's just go to zero. Don't be dumb. But they think $100 is money or something. And they said, your goal is to turn it into $1 million in 90 days. And I'm like, you got to remember, this is January 2020. There is no COVID yet. COVID does not exist. There's been no talk of COVID. There's 3% unemployment, 3.25% unemployment in the United States. We have the fastest growing economy we've had in 12 years. And I said, yeah, dude, I can do it.
So
let's roll.
So you were
let's
pumped.
roll.
You were pumped up.
I said, let's roll. Let's roll.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I said, I just got to tell my family, that I'll have them out there, that I'll be gone about a week, and then I'll bring them out. And the guy called me up and says, bro, I don't think you want to bring your family on this trip. And I said, what are you talking about? He's like, have you watched the show from last year? I said, no, I didn't watch it. I heard about it, but I didn't watch it. I said, whatever he did, dude, I'll do 10X that. He's like, what do you mean? I said, let's do $10 million in 90 days. And as long as you drop me off in a city where they speak English, I'm going to hit a $10 million business in 90 days. I've been thinking about this for 30 years about doing this. If you guys are going to follow me around and document it, you're going to make me a legend, a living legend, if I can pull it off. So I said, let's do 10 million, pick the city, and let's roll. And he's like, you should go watch the show first. So I did. I went and watched it, called the guy right back. And I said, hey, I'm in. My wife's in, the kids are in, where you want to go, when you want to go. But I said, one condition, I said, I want to bring $1 million in cash to the president of Discovery Channel and drop it on her table, and bet her $1 million in cash that I can pull this off.
You're bold like that, man. I got to tell you. So, okay, what was the first thing that you did? Like they dropped you off. You got this $1 million bet, right, with Discovery Channel. Yeah. And you got nothing. You got $100. Did they give you a car? Did you get anything?
Well, let me just explain one thing, because some of your audience right now is watching this saying, dude, the guy's so cocky and he's so noisy and he's so freaking brash, and I hate that. But what you guys don't understand is I use that and this opportunity to tell my story, okay? And that is worth way more than money. So the fact that I controlled this pitch with Discovery is a sales game. It is a marketing and a branding game. So don't get confused by the brash and the noise, and pay attention to the lesson, because what I did was control the game with them and have a story to tell you today, so that this will be worth more to me than a TV show. Because if I can pull this off, it'd probably be good for my business. If I can't pull it off, it's not going to be good for my business. But the reason I bet the $1 million was because it puts pressure on me, and it puts pressure on me to perform. And so now, to the question about what's the first thing I do. The first thing I do when I they drop me off in a town called Pueblo, Colorado. I'd never been there before. My older brother died about 5 hours from there in a town called Grand Junction when I was 20 years old. He was 25. So I'm literally flying over. I'm like, that's Grand Junction. I'm in my plane. Like, I can see it on the map. where are we going, guys? Like, and I know how much fuel we got on the plane. So I'm like, okay, well, we're going to be in Colorado. I said, are we going to Grand Junction, Colorado? Because I'm like, that's where my brother died. And they're like, no, we're going to Pueblo. And we were on the ground 15 minutes later. When we hit the ground, the first thing I did was I went to the bank. I traded my $100 in for a checking account. Now, I'm not going to tell you why I did that because you're not going to understand. Most people won't. You might, but most people won't understand it. But I needed to go to zero as fast as I possibly could so that I didn't become a manager of money. And I watched Glenn the first year. If you guys didn't see Undercover Billionaire last year, a guy named Glenn Stearns, he spends the first 3 or 4 days managing money. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to basically take myself to zero as fast as I could. Every business that I own today, I built from zero. No money, no loans, no government handouts, no help, nothing. And so it's a thing that I do called going to zero. I've done it many, many times in my career to build my business and to keep me hungry and focused.
Well, I'm curious because, the whole premise is they take everything away. So really you're going into the situation with everything that and everything, all your experiences that you've done. So what do you think is more important, what you know or who you know? You think what you know in life, like what, the knowledge that you've carried along, or who you know, the connections, the people,
here's the deal. It's a great question. Nobody's asked me that, by the way.
Well, this is the Who You Know show. It's the Who You Know show.
who knows me is more important than who I know. Number 2, who I know. And number 3, what I know. But you got to understand, bro, like the game is this. I have to take on another identity. So number 1's out. Who knows me does not help me anymore. It hurts me. If somebody identifies me as Grant Cardone, I cannot do business with them. So I cannot use any of my contacts.
You had to shave your head and
Discovery didn't know how many people know me. I kept telling them, I'm like, how am I going to go? Where are you dropping me off? Like, and they're like, we're going to pick a city. I'm like, yeah, but how am I going to run around that city and not be known? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I will be discovered. And they're like, oh, you so famous. Like they thought, oh yeah, you think you're so famous. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Literally 10 minutes later, I'm in LA. I'm in Beverly Hills having a coffee with these guys, having lunch, talking about the show. And a guy about 24 years old walks in, Uncle G, what you doing? Did you set that up? I said, no, man, that happens. They said, would this happen in smaller cities? I'm like, it will happen in any city in America.
Yeah.
Some kid is going to know me, and because I'm there every day. Well, they never believed that until we got into this deal. So 3 things, okay? Who knows me is more important than who I know. Second, who I know. But look, I can't call on anybody I know.
So they took all that away.
The first 2 are gone.
Right.
So the 3rd thing I'm left with is a strategy, what I know and who I am.
And you've been thinking about this.
The strategy, right?
Yeah.
So now look, if a guy gets dropped off in this scenario and all his businesses was raising money from other people, or his daddy gave him money, well, he's fucked, because that ain't this game. You got no money. And I knew I'm at a severe advantage in this show because I built all my businesses from nothing. I never built a $10 million business in 90 days though. And I never had cameras follow me around, which is a problem most of the time. It's not helpful. It's a hinder in most cases.
What was the hardest part for you? Because I was actually in the Clubhouse app in Glenn Lundy's room earlier today, and Elena was in there, and she was telling a little bit of the backstory of how hard it was for you. What was the biggest challenge? Was it being away from your family, or what was the biggest challenge for you?
Man, this thing was psychologically and emotionally, physically and mentally the most exhaustive single thing I've ever done in my whole life. Some things are painful, and some things are painful because they remind you of other times of your life. It reminded me of being broke. It reminded me of not having a clue. It reminded me of when I was 20, 29, 30 years old. I was calling on businesses around America. People wouldn't see me. They wouldn't answer my call. It just reminded me of playing below my game, not knowing what I'm doing, dude, being in doubt every day, not having family around me. I was lonely. I was isolated. I was scared. I was cold. I was hungry. I don't even know if the show is going to show how ugly it was for me.
So let me ask you this. So
I was pissing in bottles. I didn't have a place to piss. So like literally Like, I don't know what they're going to show. The first 3 nights, I lived in a place without a heater.
So let me ask you this. So what advice would you give to somebody who may be going through a similar situation? Like, let's say you had a job seeker who was at the top of their game, maybe a CEO or senior level executive who maybe has kind of lost it all and found themselves because of, unfortunate circumstances to be in rock bottom, to kind of like what got you through those moments?
Well, the difference between me and that guy's trying to get back to where he was, and I was trying to build a $10 million business in 90 days. He's feeling sorry for himself, and I didn't have time to. So I would tell him or her, you're trying to get back to where you were. You need to go to zero. You need to get rid of everything. Get rid of your house, get rid of your cars, get rid of your old briefcase that you have that reminds you of who, you were an executive. Get rid of all that. Get rid of everything you have. Get rid of your refrigerator. You ain't hit bottom yet. You don't even know what bottom yet. Like get to zero. Like, that's the first thing I did when I got to this town. I went to zero. I had 2 pairs of jeans, 2 T-shirts. I stole a blanket off my plane. When I realized it was cold, I went and jumped back on the plane, freaking pushed a blanket into my damn bag. And I had an empty bottle. I got this empty bottle because I realized, man, if I have an empty bottle, I can just refill it with water. So that was slick. That was smart. And I went to zero as fast as I could, and I got extremely clever. So number 1, I'd go to zero. Number 2, I'd get a big freaking giant ass goal that would put you back on top. In fact, would put you further ahead than you were when you fell off. And then I would get rid of everybody in your life that doesn't support you 100% and doing whatever it takes. I don't care what it is. Like, you got to pay the price, dude. You have to give something up. I had to give up my kids and my wife for 90 days. I had to give up my plane, my cars. I had to give up my name. I had to give up my credit cards. People want to fly, but they want to stay where they're at. You can't. The rocket ship has to leave the launch pad. It's got to burn a whole lot of fuel to get up there. And most people, they want to get back to where they were without spending anything. And it's just not real.
Would you do it again?
No, I would never do it again. Any of my friends out there that think y'all big shot, I'll bet you $1 million you can't do it. Any of my buddy, Gary Vaynerchuk, all my buddy, Damon John, me and Damon talked about this the other day. Damon's like, I'd never do that. That's stupid. That was stupid what you did.
Why did you do it? Why'd you do it?
I did it because I'm tired of telling people what to do. And I'm sick of all the people that are telling people what to do. You heard me on Clubhouse. There's so many experts in the world right now. I'm like, oh my God, this is like, I've been telling people for years, don't get in that coaching business. Don't get in that life coach stuff. There's no money to be made there. Everybody knows more than the last guy. Like, what you know don't matter. I'm like, you know what? I'll never have to tell. Nobody will ever ask me again, what would you do if you lost everything? I'll be like, shit, watch the show.
I did it.
Because you're going to see what I do. And I don't think anybody will ever match what I do. What I accomplish in the show, I don't think anybody else will accomplish. I don't know what the other people accomplish. They end up wrapping 3 shows into one, season 2. The other 3 don't do what I did combined. I know people are going to be like, oh my God, back to back, Grant Cardone is so arrogant. I told my wife, I said, if I can pull this shit off, you think I'm hard to deal with now? Man, I pull this shit off, I'm going to be impossible.
Well, that leads me to this question. So I have a question from the audience. So this comes from JC Seppel. He says, really looking forward to this episode, Trevor. Anyone going into this experience must have a certain level of confidence and a rough plan. I'd be curious to know what was the biggest surprise he encountered and what he learned from it.
Well, I got sick twice from altitude sickness. That was a surprise. It took 14 days out of me. There's 1, there's 2. You got to remember, we went in and then we got stopped. So I got interrupted. That didn't surprise me, by the way, because my entire life has been a life of interruptions and disappointments. So at 14 days, I was just getting over the altitude sickness, and Discovery came up to me and said, it's over with, man. Got bad news for you. It's over. I'm like, over? What you mean over? Show's over. We're pulling the plug. I'm like, no, bro. You can't pull the plug. And they're like, yeah, maybe we can revisit it later. It's going to be in the show. I know for sure this is going to make the show because I blow up. Like, I literally almost get in a fight with the guy. I'm calling the president of Discovery. You guys cannot pull the plug. COVID's not real. I mean, I was completely insane, bro. COVID's not real. Fuck COVID. this is a freaking conspiracy against Donald Trump and Grant Cardone. Dude, I was insane, bro. Like literally, I was so into the deal. If you saw the movie Tropic Thunder, when Robert Downey Jr., he becomes the black dude, and he went and gets a pigmentation surgery and everything. I lost it. I became this other person and I couldn't get out of it. They stopped the shoot. 14 days, we stopped the clock. I went home for 2.5 months and just sat and waited. I couldn't contact anybody. I couldn't talk to anybody in Pueblo. I didn't even know if they were going to bring it on again. So that freaked me out. Then when I went back, I got altitude sickness again. And then once I got over the altitude sickness, they tested me for COVID-19. And guess what? That's right.
Positive.
I got me some positive. So then I had to go into quarantine for 14 days. So, I was talking to this lady, trying to do this business deal with this lady. And she looked at me and says, I don't trust you. I don't want you in Pueblo. I was telling everybody I came from LA. We don't want people from LA here. I mean, the lady was so mean. It was unbelievable. There's another guy that I met. I was doing a pitch to, straight up just would not do anything with me. So that kind of stuff doesn't surprise me because I've had thousands of people not want to do something with me. Pueblo's full of super nice people, but the town's got a lot of poverty. The town's got a lot of people that are comfortable. It's either you have something there or you don't. The other thing that surprised me is the problems with the crew. Like, I'm used to not getting along with people, but dude, not only did I had to fight Pueblo and the economy and COVID and the government, I had to fight the crew. Like it was like.
What was the biggest challenge with the crew? What were they doing?
They just want me to drive a certain way.
Got you.
They want me to be a certain way. They're like, oh, nobody's going to, no, Grant, one guy would come up to me. Hey, Grant, just want to give you a little advice here. The people are not going to like you if you do what you just did. We're just trying to make you look good on TV. I said, fuck you and fuck making me look good on TV, dude. The deal is to make a $10 million business, punk. Get out of my way. Then one day they came to me and they said, hey, man, you got to quit going so fast. Literally, they had a meeting with me. It was a Thursday morning. They said, we have to have a meeting with you. I'm like, I don't have time for a meeting. Turn your fucking cameras on, recharge your batteries, get your union guys off their asses, quit eating your granola bars that I don't have access to, and let's go. And they're like, no, we have to have a meeting. And I'm like, what's the deal? Bro, you're killing the crew. You're killing the people here. We're killing equipment. You're damaging people and equipment. Like, you're moving too fast. And I'm like, yeah, that's the real deal, bro. You guys want to do the Undercover Billionaire show? Fucking get your shit together. Let's roll. That's what this really is, man. And I forgot. Because I got a timeline, right? I'm at 86 days, 85 days, 84 days, 83 days, 82 days. This is how I make my living, man. My company is around educating companies on doing bigger stuff. Like, this isn't just a show for me, it's my brand. So a lot of conflict between me and them, I missed my family. That was terrible. Like it was a tough deal, man.
Yeah, I saw that clip. You looked very emotional about your family.
I was beat up, bro. I got beat up a lot. And then I'm living on beans and rice.
Yeah.
Shit.
What did you do for food? What did you do for water, food? Where'd you live? All that good stuff.
I can't tell you that shit.
You can't tell me?
I can't tell you that shit. But, I went vegan, and I went vegan before this deal, and the problem with vegan is vegan's expensive. So I went from vegan to eating wieners again. Everybody eats dick, when you're coming on the come up. You gotta eat the wiener. Why'd you lick your lips when I said that?
Nah, man. Look, so
man, go back and watch the clip.
Look,
man.
I probably, I should have been a little bit more clear. I guess no, I should have been a little bit more clear. So this show is it's a faith-based ministry show, and so.
Oh, dude, I didn't know that. I am so sorry. Please cut that out. Are you live right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh,
yeah, we're live.
Dude, I am so sorry. I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I apologize so much. I am so sorry for that.
We're here to rebuild people and so yeah.
I'm playing, man. I am so sorry.
Uncle G, I love you, man. I do. You know that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having the tolerance of my ignorance and my playfulness.
No, it's that's on me. Now I'm gonna take that. That's on me. If it wasn't
huge, that's a huge example of responsibility, which was part of making this thing work, was being extremely responsible for everything from the economy there to COVID to altitude sickness. Like, I didn't blame anybody for anything. Like, I just knew that I was in the pressure cooker of my life, which I think a lot of people are going through every day with their families, trying to figure out. I remember I was 16 years old, and my mom, all I could see was my mom. My dad died when I was 10. And not having a man in my life, like, created a lot of chaos for me in my life, because I didn't have direction and guidance. And I didn't have a faith-based group to be part of that would be like, dude, you know what? That's not okay. And so I created a lot of looseness in my life that I have learned how to kind of operate with. But my mom was scared all the time. She was a good person, great mother, hard worker, but she did not know how to bring money in. So she was always in defense mode on the money game. I told her when I was 16 years old, I said, one day I'm going to learn enough about success and wealth and money so that this never happens to the people around me. And so I'm hoping in the show people learn that, you know, there is a way to get out of the hole. There is a way to get out of the problems, and it takes action. You know, it takes the faith of a mustard seed is one thing, but action without works. What is the saying? Action without works, faith without works. You know, like the old book, Think and Grow Rich. You ain't gonna think and grow rich. It's a great title for a book.
Right.
You got to do and grow rich.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. You got to take action, and you got to, you know, apply and, you know, get out of your comfort zone. And so, you know, again, I appreciate you coming and spending some time with us, Uncle G. This is actually our third year doing the Who You Know Job Networking Show. And this is our anniversary today, our anniversary show. And, you know, hey, it's the first show of the new year. So, man,
look, again, I want to apologize to your audience, man. Like,
no, listen,
you know, here, let me just explain something to you, because this is really good for your audience. It's good for me. It's probably good for you. Look, when you're trying to get the attention of like I have a mission, and I have some examples in my life that I've studied, people that weren't alive when I was, people that go back in history. Jesus is one of them. Left his home, left mom, left dad, went out. Nobody would listen to him where he lived. He had to leave town to get anybody to listen to him. My whole life is based on, hey, I will do whatever it takes. There are people that I have studied in the present and in the past that have been tremendous inspirations to me. Some of the places where I have failed is I am so scared most of the time in trying to become someone that I am trying to like hook into anyone that I can get attention from in order to create a relationship. You know, you don't really know, you know, when you're dropped into a new environment. I've done, I don't know, 19 interviews today or something. Like, who I'm trying to get people's attention. I'm trying to grab their attention long enough that they remember, hey, you remember that guy? You remember that guy? What's that guy's name? They're not going to remember my name, right? So I'm trying to set hooks so I can actually get people into present time to either like me or hate me. But at least they're like, hey, I remember that guy said, you don't need money. You don't need money, okay? It does not take money to make money. It takes courage, it takes faith, it takes action, it takes persistence. And so the beautiful, most spiritual thing happened to me on this adventure was that when they took everything away from me, I realized I had such a spiritual moment of knowing, oh, wow, nobody can hurt me. I don't have my name. I don't have my identity. I don't have my credit. I don't have my family. I'm still me. I am still all the gifts that I have, all the gifts that I've developed because of the work that I've done on myself are still me. So I really appreciate you, you know, turning the show on to your audience.
Yeah,
there's
100%.
there's a lot of F-bombs in this show. I'm gonna tell you right now. Like, I told them before I did that, I said, hey, look, guys, like, I got to tell you, when I get scared or I get excited, I tend to curse.
Hey, parental advisory. It's all good, man. It's all good. Nothing but love for you, Uncle G. Like I said, that you know, you've helped me in so many ways, and you don't even know it. And so that I take accountability on that for not at least setting the stage up in the proper way. I didn't get the opportunity to talk with you right before the show, but it's all good, man. I appreciate you, and I love you so much, man. All the love for you.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
100%.
Thanks for listening to the Who You Know Show podcast. My name is Trevor Houston, and if you've enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing wherever you listen and leave us a positive review to help us keep the mics on in the studio. Until next week, that's the show. It's all about who you know.